What's up, Lost Boys? Welcome to week 8 of Josh's Fantasy Festivus, where my takes, opinions, and grievances are going to be coming at you hot this episode. So, before we get into week 8 and all the matchups, we're going to take a quick look back at week 7 because, ooh, it was spicy. But before we get to the actual matchups of week 7, let's teleport back to about a week ago today. Maybe I think it was about Wednesday or Thursday. And Cass pulls, let's go to Cass's shoes. He's sitting in first place, most points, second least points against. His team's rolling. And then, he's facing Josh. Josh's whole team's on bye. And then, of course, he pulls some Jedi mind trick, voodoo, Eagle Scout, huge pants trick on Denny. Manages to steal ETN from our boy Whitehair. And I think, let me check, got him for free. So Cass pulls a trick, goes into Thursday Night Football, gets 2 back-to-back pick sixes from Arizona's D. He's sitting pretty, but just flailing out his huge pants. He's eating his chips, loving life, looking up small titty pornos. He's living it, right? And then this week comes around and he takes the L. Cass falls from first place to second place. It was a big week. It was our highest scoring matchup of the week. First place versus second place. Cass takes the L, but he takes even a bigger L. Not just the loss this week, but a loss of Breece Hall. The dude was a monster. I think he had like 1 carry for 60 yards and a touchdown this week before he got hurt. So, huge loss for Cass. He already lost Javonte Williams. Now he loses Breece Hall. Running backs were weak coming out of the draft. He didn't have any depth at all, and he loses his first and second running back. Thank God Denny was there to bail him out with the ET and stuff, but it was a rough week for Cass, but he still put up, I think, the 3rd most points in the league. So it shows you how strong Cass's team was. And that is without Cooper Kupp in. That is without A.J. Brown in. So Cass may have lost. He may have lost Breece Hall, but he has ETN from Denny. And his team all of his main guys are coming back from bye. So don't sleep on Cass. He's still a force to be reckoned with going forward. Don't let him trick you with his, my 2 guys are hurt, I might be done. As Cal would say, get that sympathy shit out of here. So we're going to go look at the next matchup. We have Sweet Chin versus the bye week. This one had me cracking. Jace down on his luck. Every week we see it. I'm done with fantasy. I'm done with fantasy. I'm done with fantasy. Well, he put all of his chips into the Broncos and the Chargers. Well, unfortunately, the Broncos died about 3 weeks ago. And Herbert can't hit a wide receiver down the field. He just checks down to Austin Eckler every game. So, Jace is depressed. And when you're depressed, who's the one guy you need to turn to save your fantasy season? Hardman. Mecole Hardman saves Jace's season this week. He was about to fall to Tim if it wasn't for an insane 25-point outburst from Jace. And speaking of Tim, round of applause. He filled a full lineup. He did it, and he got positive points from both quarterbacks. Damn! Not bad. He took the L still. He's still the worst team in the league. He's 1-6. He's an embarrassment. He's a tragedy. But I'm proud of you, Tim. After that, we're going to look at Llama a Drama versus Denny. That was a nice matchup. That was another insane matchup because Llama was in, I think, second or third place going into the week. Denny needed a win. Denny got some bad news to start the week, though. Damian Harris coming back ahead of schedule. His Ramondre Stevenson train looked like he was about to end, and Ramondre was like, no. He still performed well for him. Still pushed Denny over with a 17-point victory. Helped Ryan get rolling. Ryan got the CMC trade this week. He wasn't sure how to do it with him. He had to play him. He kind of took a dump. But going forward, you have CMC on the Niners now. I'm sure they're going to feed him the ball. You still got Saquon who's doing dirty. Ryan's team is looking stronger and stronger. I've hyped Ryan's team up the whole entire year. Unfortunately for Ryan, St. Brown got hurt. Sun God got knocked out in the first quarter. He really didn't do anything for Ryan. It really hurt his team. But Ryan has a lot invested with the Niners now, with Debo and with Christian McCaffrey. We'll see how that the Niners offense does. I mean, Jimmy G's kind of terrible, but Denny takes the dub. He moves up to 4-3. He's in 5th place. He's right behind the 5-2 people, and he's right behind Llama in points. So huge win for Denny. We're going to go look at Learning Computer versus Barreto. This one was actually closer than I imagined it was going to be. Justin just keeps winning. I mean, the dude he's like the Jets and the Giants this year. No matter what, every single week you look at the stat. What? They both won? The New York teams? That's Justin this year. I mean, Mahomes, of course, we know Mahomes is the man. Juju's coming out right now. He's looking like his number one wide receiver. He goes off. Justin scored 150 points, almost the most points in the week, and he got 0 from Michael Gallup. To put up those points with a 0 is great. Pierce is putting up yardage. Olave's a stud. Jacoby Myers is getting touchdowns, for Christ's sake, throwing the ball from McCorkle and Zappy, and he's still getting points. Pittman had a down game, but Justin's putting up dubs like week in and week out. Romanowski, on the other hand, hated his team all year. He's 3-4. He almost pulled it out. I mean, it wasn't bad. 139 points. He got a monster game from his 2 quarterbacks. Going into the week, he had Justin Fields, Daniel Jones. I said, oh man, you can't win with Daniel. Look at those dudes. They got over 50 points for him. So Daniel Jones is a running machine. Christian Kirk, Waddle, they got him both over 10 points. His teams are good, but Keenan Allen 2 flag. It was a rough game. His kicker 2, Denver 2. So that was the difference. The flex was the difference. Juju outscored Keenan Allen by almost 20 points. So Justin takes the victory there, and he is in 3rd place right now. 3rd place, Barreto. He is clearing waves, and his points for is pretty good. Last but not least, we're going to go with Patty versus Cal. Now, last week, Pat had projected, as I mentioned in my last video, over 160 points, which was insane. I even said it, I've been saying it the whole year. Pat's going to come rolling. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. His team's too good to be this bad. And then what happens this week? He loses to Cal. Cal's team is so bad. He's so bad. I mean, these two guys, Pat put up the least amount of points. Cal, I think, put up the 2nd least amount of points, maybe the 3rd based on a couple decimals. But, I mean, this was the turd burners of turd burners. Cal gets the dub. Thank God he needed it. But how do you lose this one, Pat? I mean, your team is good, but you are now 2-5. You're 3 games behind the playoffs. Well, I guess you're 2 games behind. No, you're 3 games behind. So, I mean, either way, 2 or 3 games behind, but your points for is not the best. I look at your team every week. If I would have told you, Pat, at the beginning of the year that Josh Jacobs was going to be the number 2 fantasy running back, you'd be saying I would be 7-0. You should be 7-0 based on your team. Well, Josh Jacobs is the number 2 fantasy running back on the year, and you're 2-5. I don't know if this gives you hope for the rest of the season or less hope the rest of the season, but it's kind of crazy. Tampa Bay and Dallas's defense has been non-existent, or Dallas's offense has been non-existent. Pretty sure Dallas's D has outscored CeeDee Lamb this year. I'm almost 100% sure about that, which is crazy to think. You get you get Tampa Bay on Thursday Night Football this week. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Pat, it was a rough week for you. Cal beat you by 1.5. 1.5. I mean, you've had a lot of bad beats. I get it, but you got to get the dubs eventually. Looking at Cal's team, Cal's now 3-4. He's still keeping it in the mix. Cal's points against is the lowest in the league, so people die against Cal. Another week going against the lowest point scorer, but Cal's got the 3 dubs. That's more than Tim. That's more than Pat. That's the same amount as a couple other guys. So Cal's still trying to do his best. I mean, Mixon, the Bengals offense is coming around. Zeke got a touchdown to him, but Matt Ryan, they benched him. So Cal's going to have to find another quarterback. Devontae Adams, I loved him going into the year. He gets yards, and he's not terrible, but, man, I thought they were going to feed him the ball. I thought he was going to get touchdowns. I thought he was going to be a stud. Cooper, I mean, Cal's team's okay. Damian Harris is back, got him a whopping 1.5, and that 1.5 was the difference in the game for him and Pat. So I think Cal's team is whatever, but Pat really needed it this week. He really needed a victory against Cal because the schedule does not get any easier for him going forward. So that was the summary from last week. Speaking of the schedule going forward, we're going to go to Week 8, boys, with our matchup of the week. I don't know who to go with here. I wanted to go with the highest point projections because that's usually what I go with, but I'm not going to go with the highest point projections. I'm going to go again with the best records. Barreto, third place. Cass, second place. 5-2. 5-2. I just got done talking about both of these jabronis. Barreto, rolling. I mean, the dude's been winning. He keeps kicking ass. He did the trade in the middle 3 weeks ago. Hasn't lost since the trade. He's got the depth. He's going to keep getting better when Cordell Patterson comes back. He's making the right calls. He's switching out the guys. He's using waivers. He's doing everything he can. I mean, the dude is starting Geno Smith. He's still winning. Geno's stepping it up. Cass, on the other hand, I talked about him before. No sympathy from us, Cass. Your team is still strong as hell. You still got the Kelsinator. You still got the Cuppinator. You got Tua back now. Like, you weathered your injuries, and you're still 5-2. So you are still top tier. Now, this week's a little different. Last week was By-Mageddon. This week isn't necessarily By-Mageddon, but it's Chiefs By-Mageddon. And it happens to hurt both of these teams bad. Cass loses Kelsey, maybe his best player. Barreto loses Juju and Mahomes. So Cass hits the jackpot, making Barreto out two of his better players, including Mahomes, but Barreto doesn't have to go against Kelsey this week. So it's a give and take right there. But Cass does get back Cup. He does get back his boys. This is going to be a crazy close game. I'm not sure where I see this one going. Justin has to make a decision if they're going to bring back James Conner or not. They still haven't decided that. I'm sure he probably hopes that they don't, because, Benjamin has been eaten. I mean, you guys have seen Justin's gifts every week. He's dropping the Benjamins. And then Cass, he's got ETN. Every single thing. James Robinson trade. ETN, top 10 rest of the season. He's going to be rolling. And so, this is a tough week for Cass with no Kelsey. But it's same with Justin. Both no Mahomes, no Juju. It's really, really tricky. I'm going to actually lean Justin. And a big reason is because Cass's quarterback is going against his defense. Losing Kelsey. He's starting Tyler Algier. I mean, he's going to bring Cup back. He's going to bring A.J. Brown back. So those are two huge things. But Justin just keeps winning, and he keeps putting up points. It's going to hurt without Mahomes. It's going to hurt without Juju. But Olave's going up against Raiders defense, which are terrible. Pierce going up. Pierce is good. Thielen's back. I think New England's D is going to step it up. They're going to be pissed from getting smoked by Chicago. They're going against Zach Wilson. And I think the difference in this game is going to be defenses. I think it's going to be that close. And I think New England's D puts Cass ain't getting two more pick sixes, titty man. It ain't happening. And Justin takes the victory this week. Jumps up to second place in the league. Next matchup, we're going to go with the Titty Biscuit versus your first place team, the Juggernaut. GG, well played. Most points in the league, second most points against. His games are fireworks every single week. He got through By-Mageddon last week with both quarterbacks and Justin Jefferson and his starting tight end all on bye to take down the first place team. And now he goes against Pat. Doesn't matter. Pat's team's a monster. I don't care what's been happening this year. Pat, and another thing I just got done saying, everyone has good games against Josh. Everyone. Your team's going to come out of a shell this week. You're projected to be 150 points. I bet you break your projections for the first time in maybe the whole year. So that's the key. The problem with Pat is he's heavily invested in Tampa Bay. And where does Tampa... Oh, Tampa Bay's the Thursday night game. We've said it every single week. That Thursday night game is just a shithole. Having people on that game is miserable because it's so low scoring every week. It's sloppy. Refs are bad. Players get injured. It's just brutal. So Pat having freaking Leonard Fournette and Tom Brady on Thursday night, that's gonna be a little bit tricky. You never know. But Josh also has a running back that night, so that's gonna hurt him. But I think the matchup's gonna be crazy close. Pat, another thing that kind of sucks for Pat is Pat has Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette. They're going against Baltimore. Who's Pat's defense? Baltimore. So that's kind of crappy. Pat has three guys. Actually, four guys. I keep forgetting because guess who else has Pat? Mark Andrews. Pat has maybe his top three players are all on Thursday night as well as his defense. So Pat needs to have at least 50-point lead leaving Thursday Night Football, I think, for him to have a chance. He could do it. He definitely could do it. You never know. If this game's high scoring, Brady's going to be scoring, Fournette's going to be scoring, and if it's high scoring, it's going to force Mark Andrews to score. So he needs Tampa Bay to get up early in this game. So it's going to be tricky, but Thursday Night Football. On the flip side, Josh gets his boys back. He gets Justin Jefferson back. He gets Jalen Hurts back. He gets Kirk Cousins back. He gets Dallas Goedert back. He gets all his boys back. Jamar Chase is sitting alongside Justin Jefferson, freaking Mighty Duck style. Bash Brothers in it up on his lineup. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow got their connection rolling. They look to be keeping it rolling. Nick Chubb, I mean, God, I hope they trade Kareem Hunt because that would even elevate Nick Chubb even more. Except I'm pretty sure Kevin Stefanski hates Nick Chubb in fantasy, but it is what it is. Doesn't matter. Josh's team's got most of his boys back. Most of Pat's boys play on Thursday Night Football, and I think that's going to be the difference. This game, when you look at first place team versus ninth place team, usually that's a huge gap. I think this game's going to be super, super close. Pat's talent is too good, but because the talent is playing on Thursday Night Football, I think that gives Josh the edge, and I'm going with Josh this week, Pat. You fall again to 2-6, unfortunately. Next, we're going with Llama versus Denny. Both 4-3 teams. Insanely good matchups this week, guys. Insanely good matchups. Denny Two Shoes gets the victory last week. Actually, I'm sorry. That was last week. My fault. Grievances on me. Festivus. Miracle. My fault. We're going with the bye week versus Denny. Denny, that's why the victory was so huge for Denny last week. He needed to beat Ryan to come up close to him. But more importantly, he knows if I get a victory this week, I get a victory next week. It's 2 victories in a row because he's playing the bye week. Tim right now is projected 87 points. Now, obviously, he'll do his thing. I don't want to say obviously. Maybe Tim will do his thing, put in some guys. Maybe he won't put in some guys. Who knows? But then he might as well just take a check mark, get a glass of coffee, go play some Frisbee golf, and live the life for the rest of the week because he knows his fantasy week's done. He's going to check mark the W. He doesn't really have to worry about it. I mean, we don't have Tim's team, whatever, yada, yada, yada. They're dead. Denny's team, like I said, they're coming up. I mean, he has Alec Pierce in. He probably should drop that guy. I don't know where he got Alec Pierce, but you can't be starting him in your lineups if you want to have a chance to make the playoffs. So I'm sure Denny will drop Alec Pierce. But other than that, Aaron Jones, the boomer bust. He got the boom last week. He might be getting the bust this week, but I think finally the Packers know, feed Aaron Jones the ball. Feed Aaron Jones the ball. We already know how dirty Tyreek Hill's been this year. Might break the record for receiving yards. Denny's Achilles heel is fucking quarterbacks. They have been so bad, and they don't look to get any better. He has Zach Wilson against New England D, Rodgers against Buffalo. I mean, that seriously could crush him. Luckily, he's playing the bye week, where Tim has Ryan Tannehill / he might even be out / Andy Dalton / Jameis Winston / it doesn't even matter. I'm going to go with Denny this one. I think it's going to be a little closer than you think, but I think Denny takes Tim out by about 20 points. It is the bye week and all. Next, we're going to go with Calzone versus the Llama Drama. Both guys, Cal 3-4, Ryan 4-3. Ryan's trying to cling. He's clinging to that playoff spot. He's in the 4th spot now. Like I said, Ryan's team ceiling is insane. McCaffrey, Barkley. He got Hopkins back, and Hopkins looked good. And freaking Kyler is just feed him the ball, feed him the ball, feed him the ball. So Ryan's team actually got stronger. He did lose to Denny last week, but the fact that he got Hopkins back and now Christian McCaffrey's on a really good team, Ryan's team is still scary. Devontae Smith comes back from bye week. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's feeling it. Trevor Lawrence kind of sucks, but Joe Burrow's getting his groove. Was bad for Ryan earlier in the year. Ryan pushed through. Now he's got a grooving quarterback. On the flip side, you got Calzone. I mentioned how much his team's kind of diarrhea. His team is still diarrhea. Wando Robinson, he gets hurt. Get him out of here. Mixon Elliott, they're trying to get him rolling. Cal has a couple guys he needs to fill, which he will. But the main thing is Cal's team lives and dies by Lamar. And what did I just get done saying? Who plays Thursday night? Lamar against Tampa Bay's defense, which is pretty good. So we will see. I'm leaning Ryan this week, though. I'm going to go with him just because Cal, I don't think, is going to get a great week from Lamar. I think it's going to be rough, tough shredding. And, Devontae Adams, his other star, might be going against Marcus Lattimore for the Saints. So I'm going Ryan this week. I just think his team ceiling is too good. I don't think Cal has the talent to keep up with him. And then last but not least, we got the sweet Shawn Michaels Chin Music versus Learning Computer. Jace got a huge season-saving win last week against Tim. Learning Computer takes the loss last week. Both guys sitting at 3 and 4. Both guys around the middle of the pack with points. This is where you're talking about two teams, specifically Jace, clinging to trying to get that playoff spot. Matt trying to get to the playoff spot. You know, Jace is trying to get something. He has Kenneth Walker, maybe the best pickup of the year. The guy looks like an absolute monster. Makes up for his awful first-round pick in Najee Harris, who's just been so bad. He's still starting him. He has to start him. But now when you have Kenneth Walker, he gets Diggs back from bye, which is huge from him. But he's starting Jimmy G and Marcus Mariota. I mean, you look at Marcus Mariota in that offense, they were down 21 points in the first quarter. You would think they got to throw to come back. I mean, they should have thrown the ball 50 times. I'm pretty sure they threw the ball 16 times the whole game, being down 21 points in the first quarter. Arthur Smith doesn't throw the ball. I don't know why. You know, you go out and you draft London. You go out and you draft Kyle Pitts, and you want to run the ball with Tyler Algier. But hey, what do I know? As you guys say, I'm not a coach, and I think I know more than these guys. I'm an idiot. My bad. For real. Come on. But, you know, he's got Marcus Mariota. His quarterbacks are a little weak. Cortland Sutton has not been performing for him. I think T. Higgins is getting rolling. I mentioned the Bengals offense is rolling. Higgins is back to being healthy. That's going to be good for him. But Jace still has a lot invested in the Broncos. And you know how I feel about that, looking at Learning Computer. He gets the big daddy back, Josh Allen. And that's a counteract to Jace. Because Jace, if Diggs does good, that means Allen does good. And this is the one thing you don't want being a Diggs owner. Speaking of getting people back, horse turd hairs coming back for Romanowski. He already got his bye week out of the way. They got the victory last week. He's getting rolling. He's rolling. The horse turd hairs smelling and peanuts and flies everywhere. He's feeling it. Rashad Bateman's back though. That could be a decent pickup for Matt from last week. This is a really close game. Really close game. And I honestly don't know where to lean. I'm gonna go with Romanowski on this one. The main reason is because his quarterback difference. I just think, you know, Garoppolo, Mariota. Who would have? I think Josh Allen by himself is going to outscore maybe both of Jace's quarterbacks, which is crazy to say, but he easily could outscore both of Jace's quarterbacks. And that means Daniel Jones, who has more rushing yards, mind you, than Jace's Najee Harris this year. Keep that in mind. I think Daniel Jones is just bonus points on that. I think both guys as wide receivers are very even. I think, you know, Kenneth Walker and Horse Turd Hair cancel each other out. I think everyone else on this roster is very even. I just think the quarterbacks Roman are too much for Shawn Michaels. He ain't pulling no Montreal screw job this week. So that's it, boys. Those are my predictions. The league is still wide open. The cream of the crop's slowly starting to push up, and the turds are slowly starting to fall to the bottom. But we still have a 4-3 person in fourth place, as well as a million 3 and 4 guys. Pat's team's too good to keep losing, even though I predicted he was going to lose this week. You never know. Talent on all the teams looks really strong every week. Matchups are seemingly pretty close every single week. But yeah, keep hitting those waivers. Keep checking those lineups. And Patty grabbed on the huge dub last night. Chiefs kicked some ass on Sunday. It was a good week, boys. You guys have a good one the rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.